the trick is finding that one idea out of the many that you come up with that is a winner. And then you just heads down, work harder than anybody else and make it successful. That's really the key.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do. And there's one other piece to it. You need to bring other people in. I like to say, you walk among giants, but you still have to recognize that they're a giant and bring them into the fold. And also delegate some responsibility. Don't try to hold on to everything. Understand when you have to pass the baton to somebody that is smarter than you or more dedicated than you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My name is Joao Camargo. I am your host, and my guest here today is Joe Adams, who is a SVP of Partnerships and Alliances at 3Aware. Joe, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have this conversation. Everything that we spoke about so far before starting the podcast, it sounds also exciting to me, especially as someone who has a huge interest when it comes to health, testing new things, of course, clinical trials, which I'm sure we'll get into. So why don't we start off with you just telling everyone a little bit more about 3Aware, who you guys are, what you're all about, and who you help.
Okay. Well, 3Aware started by pioneering advances in real-world evidence solutions for the medical device industry. What sets 3Aware apart from every other company is its ability to link specific devices to patient-level outcomes for the longitudinal timeline of the end user's choice. There's never been that type of flexibility in clinical trials before. And it makes all this data available for the end user on an AI workbench, which blends both structured and unstructured EHR data automatically without having to do extensive time-consuming manual chart reviews so that you can understand the entire patient journey. And for those that aren't aware, the history of clinical trials, whether it's for pharma or for medical devices, is one that is littered with high expense, high resource intensive, and very high resource, as well as the time element. Most clinical trials require anywhere from 1 to 3 years to complete. And with our technology, you can do a clinical trial end to end in anywhere from 60 to 90 days, which is phenomenal.
Huge. Yeah, absolutely huge.
It's a game changer. So the 3Aware AI surveillance platform leverages advanced artificial intelligence, natural language processing and understanding to extract and analyze unlimited amounts of structured and unstructured electronic health record data. And this approach provides a comprehensive longitudinal view of the patient device interactions. It encompasses comorbidities, the indications, the device performance, complications, outcomes, and much more. So all in, the 3Aware partnership and approach provides both revenue and clinically meaningful intelligence for the health systems as well as the medical device manufacturers.
Yeah.
So that's kind of at a high level.
No, yeah, it's great. Thank you for, of course, that further clarity. And 3Aware, for everybody that is listening, is actually not the only thing that Joe does. Joe is a serial entrepreneur and has been part of many, many, many different ventures in business. So, Joe, I would also love to dig a little bit deeper into what made you choose 3Aware now as a path for your next venture in business. So based on your experiences and everything that you've done so far in your entrepreneurship career, why 3Aware now? What are you trying to push forward? and how your experiences from the past relate to the decisions you're making now into growing the company too.
Okay, well, it really starts. I've had an interest or a fascination really with technology since I was a little kid. And uh, my grandfather used to take me on trips to the store where he would buy me uh, Matchbox toys, toy cars.
Okay.
And at, in 1964, he bought me a Ferrari 250 GTO. And I basically said to him, you know, someday I'm going to own one of these. And as you
Mm.
can see in the background behind me,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Ferraris on the shelf. I've
Yes.
7 of them. And they
Yeah.
more or less, each time I've grown a company up and sold it, I've added to my collection of cars
Yeah.
because I've been fascinated with them. And a lot of people don't know, they think of Ferrari as an exotic or luxury brand or what have you. But the truth is, they're the most advanced automobiles on the planet. Uh,
Mhm.
and so I was fascinated with technology, and that kind of bled over into the cars. I
Yeah.
eventually became president of the Ferrari Club of America, which has 7,000 members in the U.S.
Mhm.
And um, during that time, I started in college with a friend and roommate in college. Uh, he was a genius. So he would invent things in software, and I
Yeah.
was fortunate enough to be able to sell those things. And so
Mhm.
we first started a company that ended up growing up, and we ended up selling it to Electronic Data Systems and General Motors. And
Mm.
then we took the money from that and we started Software Artistry, which was the first help desk CRM software company. Took
Wow.
that public and ended up selling that to IBM. Uh, Took that money and started Interactive Intelligence, which was the first software-based communication platform.
Mhm.
Took that public and
Mhm.
ended up selling that to Genesis.
Mhm.
And then we got into healthcare and started a company called Lifomic, which was recently purchased by Peter Diamandis and
Mm.
Tony Robbins. And during that process, I ran into a group that include Peter Diamandis, Ray Kurzweil, which is kind of the father of technology in the world,
Mm.
and they had a university called Singularity University, and the whole idea behind the Singularity University is around the digitalization of everything, and what they term as exponentialism. And
Yeah.
so I read the books, and we actually had them come out to Indianapolis and do a presentation for our entire company. And
Mhm.
I bought all in and started to, study exponentialism. So when the last company was sold, I decided for my next venture, I wanted to jump right into an exponential organization. And
Yeah.
I looked around and was fortunate enough to find an organization right here in my backyard, which was 3Aware. And literally, 3Aware was born from a medical device manufacturer, Cook Medical, and Health Cloud Ventures, which was a technology venture firm that
Mhm.
had already built large scale applications in pharma and
Yeah.
data science. So the marriage of data science, informatics, and a problem in the medical device manufacturer is where
Mhm.
FreeAware was born, literally on the back of a napkin. And
Yeah.
I just loved the idea of what we were going to do,
Huh.
and it's turned out to be a success. We chased the bus, we caught it. We're now engaged with 6 of the 10 largest medical device companies in the world, which are all multi-billion-dollar corporations, and
Hmm.
we're the first in the market to do what we're doing, which is kind of a reputation I have, that every one of my companies have always been the first in the market
Mm,
to do what they do.
devotion. Yeah. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that. A couple of things. One, I'm very glad you chose the prancing horse as opposed to the bull for the barn animal in the cars. I think we talked about Ferrari. I'm a huge fan of Ferrari as well, so definitely approved by me there. And I would love to hear from you, Joe. Of course, you have so many businesses, so many different exits, the cars, everything that you could have asked for when you were a kid and you were first having the dreams of what you're going to achieve. What drives you to keep going? What makes you want to keep pursuing new ventures, new businesses, new adventures in your life? And yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm 70 years old. I
No.
have Yeah, I have no.
Wow.
It was
No, look at.
last month I turned 70, and I have no plans to retire. I believe that you have to have purpose. I've actually seen friends retire at 60 or 65, and they don't live very long after that.
Mm,
And I think it's because they don't have purpose. And I just have to have a challenge. I have to have something,
mm,
when I wake up in the morning, I have to have something that I want to do. And my dad told that to me a long time ago. He's kind of the same way. He lived to be 95 and a half. And, it's just the challenge and the need to learn something
mhm,
new. I read
mm,
a lot, so I'm always keeping up with, different technologies. I'm a an audiophile. I'm also a videophile.
mm,
I'm into motorcycles, at least classic motorcycles. I'm into
yeah.
cars, all the different things. And as things progress technology wise, it keeps my interest. And so
Mm,
that's what drives me. And of course, technology just has always fascinated me. And it's the perfect marriage. Technology
mm,
is the uh, representation of change. And
mhm,
I like change. I know most people don't like change because it makes
yeah.
them uncomfortable, but for
Yeah.
me, exciting. So I think
Mm.
that's what keeps me going. And, I'm going to keep doing companies and working. And one day I won't show up for work. And it's not because I didn't go in, it's because I'm not around anymore.
Oh wow, that's interesting to hear it. So it sounds like that drive for the challenge, the drive for change, drive to um always improve yourself. That's kind of what's the, I'll call it the motivation for you to keep doing what you're always doing. Finding new ventures, getting a new business, scaling it, selling it, on to the next. It's just really having that thing to look forward to when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, that's really it.
Mm.
I think there's also a little bit of satisfaction that something that other people don't.
Okay.
I
Also.
think it's a little bit. Uh, the term escapes me at the moment, but uh, maybe it's selfish, but
Mm.
I really like to learn things that other people don't know yet.
Mm.
And, a lot of people ask me a lot of questions about different things, and
Hmm.
I keep a reservoir of information that they might not be aware of.
Mm.
And it just, I gain satisfaction in turning people on to different types of technology and information And
Mm.
hopefully I can instill that same fascination in them so that they go on and do things like I do. I'm always talking to entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, and trying to
Yeah.
explain to them that you can't be all things to all people. You
Yeah.
need to find a niche and then get really good at it and just stay the course. Even if people tell you no, that's wrong, just
Hmm.
keep going and trust your gut. And that's a fun thing to do. And when you tell somebody or infect somebody with that type of passion,
Hmm.
in fact, a professor at Indiana University told me a long time ago that passion is actually desire on fire, and it can't be
Mm.
faked. So if you express your passion to someone, um, they pick up on that it's passion, that you're not, bullshitting them. You really believe it 100%, and you're in pursuit of that passion. They buy into it, and they tend to trust you more because you do have a passion. It's not, marketing bull. It's
Yeah.
real thing. And then when they see or you deliver on your promises, um, you know, you have a relationship for life, and you can go back and even if you make a mistake with them, they'll give you a chance to fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Mm.
really, really important for everybody to learn that, building a relationship is still a important part of the whole success cycle of
Mm.
building a business and executing at whatever the business does.
Yeah, what you just said reminded me of I can't remember exactly who I heard this from, but I think so many people get confused in the sense that successful entrepreneurs that like the more common ones that come to mind are like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, um, Charlie Munger, and everyone else, right? There's like, oh, they have so many different ventures, so you should there's so many income streams, so you should try to do the same. It's like, yes, but they didn't start that way. They started with one thing, and they did that thing
Correct.
for decades. And then once they had that thing for decades, then they started to spread out, and now they have multiple income streams. So your share there really reminded me of that. It's like, hey, just focus on one thing. Don't listen to others. If you really have that belief and that conviction, it will pay off. And then you
Yeah,
said something.
everybody, I was
Sorry,
going to
go
say,
ahead.
everybody can come up with ideas, but if
Mm-hmm.
you try to pursue too many ideas and stretch yourself thin,
Mm-hmm.
it sets you up for failure.
Yeah.
What the trick is finding that one idea out of the
Yeah.
many that you come up with that
Mm-hmm.
is a winner. And then you just heads down, work harder than anybody else, and make it successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the key. Uh,
Yeah.
it's really
Because you.
hard to
Yeah.
do. And there's
Mm-hmm.
one other piece to it. You need to bring other people in. I
Mm-hmm.
like to say, you walk among giants, but
Mm-hmm.
you still have to recognize that they're a giant and bring them into the fold, and
Mm-hmm.
also delegate some responsibility. Don't try to hold on to everything. Understand when you have to pass the baton to somebody that is
Mm-hmm.
uh, smarter than you or more
Yeah.
dedicated than you. But if they're on your team and they believe in that same vision, then
Mm-hmm.
let them do it.
Yeah. Because you can do anything, but not everything. So it's
Correct.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then you brought up the relationship side of things when building a company, of course, acquiring a new business. So I'd love to hear on your side of things, maybe for 3Aware and what you guys have going on right now. What are some of the challenges when it comes to that client acquisition, building that trust, growing the company in that sense? Things that, of course, you guys have many goals. What are some of the things that can get in the way of growing the business and building that trust and acquiring more clients?
Um, I, I don't know if it's unfortunate or not, but 3Aware doesn't have that problem, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
When we built our data set of 12 million patients with 80,000 devices in that data set, we let our data scientists and informaticists dive in and understand exactly what devices and how many patients were using each device. With
Mm-hmm.
that information, we could then look at the 140 top medical device manufacturers,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, we knew which ones we had device coverage and patient coverage for those manufacturers. Normally, in a clinical trial setting, the device manufacturers have to go out and physically go on site and start looking at data or collecting data and seeing
Mm-hmm.
if that data has their device. And that whole process takes months. And
Mm.
what we do is we only talk to prospective device manufacturers where we already know how many devices we have of theirs and how many patients are using each device. And on our very first call, we basically give them, it's called a device guide. We give them that information for free. And
Mm.
they flip out because they
Yeah,
actually
I guess
spent
so.
hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to gather that information before they even start on a trial. So
Mm.
it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. In
Uh-huh.
fact, we have never had a conversation with a medical device manufacturer where they didn't say, yes, we want to go to the next step. We want to look at using your data.
Mm.
And I've never had that in my long career. I've always had to sell that relationship and get people to
Yeah.
trust me. With this, you give them the gold up front, and there's nothing to trust. They look at it, and we don't
Yeah.
attach anything to it. It's free, and
Uh-huh.
they've never seen anything like that. And it's all
Mm.
because we're an exponential organization. We're able to find that data and
Yeah.
find who wants that data.
Mm.
So we only go to people that want the data, and it
Yeah.
makes the sales process a lot less challenging.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear because it's as you said, it's such a different dynamic, and we always hear give value up front and all these things, but there's usually some resistance to or friction in the later stages that have to be overcome. But to you guys, it doesn't sound like it's the case. So I would love to hear what do you think is the hardest part of keeping the company growing, and maybe I'll frame it in a way that I ask
That's
everybody.
that's an
Sorry, go ahead.
important question, and
Yeah,
that's what we're dealing with now. Um,
we could. Yeah.
Whenever we go to a manufacturer, if we have the data that they want, they buy from us first. We're like the de
Mm-hmm.
facto choice. However,
Mm-hmm.
5 to 7 times the amount of deals that we get, we don't have the data. So what we're doing is we're going out to the health systems and we're collecting more data. That is the only thing keeping us from growing faster than we are. Now, each time
Mm-hmm.
we go to a health system, we generally tend to add 5 to 10 million more patients, and anywhere from 50 to 75,000 more devices. But there's
Mm-hmm.
1.5 million devices out there in the market.
Yeah.
So we've only got uh, 80,000 right now devices. So we've got a long way to go. But right
Yeah.
now, almost all of our effort is being spent on getting more data for our platform so that we can then match up with
Mm.
patients and the
That makes
device
sense.
and make that information valuable to the medical device manufacturer.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds like the connection. So having as many connections with those health systems as possible to then get all of that information. That's where the I guess where the obstacle comes in. Is that right?
Yes. And that's also
Mm.
where the relationship thing comes in.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
exactly. Yeah, was gonna.
the last company I was in was Lifomic, which was a genomics platform company. And so we were dealing with patient DNA, full sequenced DNA. And there isn't
Mhm.
anything that is more protected or needed to be protected than that. So you had to get a high trust value with these different
Mm.
health systems to allow them to give you a full genomic sequence
Yeah,
of a human being. So we built
yeah,
those relationships prior to going over to the medtech side with 3Aware, but now we're
yeah.
re-engaging with those same health systems, and so the
Mm.
barrier is much lower. And right now, it's limited to how fast can we grow, and we need expertise. So now, fortunately, I'm tied in with the IU School of Informatics and Computing,
Mhm.
and I'm the chair of their Dean's
Mm.
Council. And so we're able to get young informaticists and computer science to work
Mhm.
for us, but that requires money. So, we're constantly raising money so that we can grow the company's resources so that we can then gather the data and keep
Yeah.
the engine, the flywheel in the engine going. And the
Mhm.
flywheel in the engine is data.
Yeah, yeah, and that, it's interesting because it sounds like what you just said as well. That ties back to, yes, this 3Aware side is very easy to sell. Like there's no friction there, but here is where the friction comes in, like having that trust, building those relationships, and all those things. So that's really awesome. And then I have one final question here for you, Joe. Um, this has been such an insightful talk, so I thank you for it. But final question here is actually not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest to you, and they had no idea who you were. So, are you ready for the question? Here it
Yep.
is. The question is, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Question. Um, I would most likely want to talk to um, somebody like Albert Einstein.
Hmm.
My partner in all of these companies was a gentleman named Dr. Don Brown. When we were in college, Don um, got multiple graduate degrees simultaneously. He ended up getting
Hmm.
an MD in medicine, a master of computer science, and a PhD in biochemistry all at the same time. So
Wow.
he was had a extremely high IQ. People compared him to Da Vinci and Einstein. In fact,
Wow.
the Associated Press did an article on him on our freshman year, and they
Hmm.
compared it to Da Vinci and Einstein. And we called him Nardo in college.
Okay.
And and so I hung around him and I learned a lot of information, a lot of different concepts from him, including what I'm doing now in the medical side.
Hmm.
Um, so I would think it would be really interesting to uh, meet and talk to somebody like Albert Einstein.
Very, very cool. I love that answer. And thanks for tying back to actually your story as well with Nardo. That's really cool. It's I remember you mentioning in our first conversation that you had that friend that you kind of just tread along paths together and you build together, which is really awesome to hear as well. But Joe, this has been so awesome. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Where should people go if they want to learn a little bit more about yourself or maybe a little bit more about 3Aware?
Uh, 3aware.ai. We're an AI company, so that's the website, 3aware.ai, and you can learn all kinds of interesting things.
Amazing. I'll of course leave everything down below here if you want to check that out. And if you're still listening to this episode and you enjoyed listening to this conversation, you want to hear more conversations like this, please hit the subscribe button and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for your time, Joe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe.